Hello, sunshines. It's Mo. All right. So if you have seen my recap, I'm back video, you would know that I am now a full-time pelvic health physical therapist. So I have taken on a specialty in the world of physical therapy and gotten into pelvic health. And a lot of times, even my patients that I have for pelvic health that come, get an order from their doctor, all these things, they still don't know what pelvic health is and what it entails in those things. So I am becoming a pro at explaining what we're doing, why we're doing it, and all those types of things. So I want to share a bit of that with you. And also, I'm titling this Why Christian Folk Need a Pelvic Health Physical Therapist, because so many people, especially in the Christian community, kind of look at pelvic health and just like, oh, I don't know what that is. I don't like it. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound very appropriate or godly. So I get it. And I have had some of those hesitations and reservations myself as a patient. And so I know what that is like. But I want to encourage you guys, if you have any of these issues that I'm going to name over here, I need you to go ahead and see someone for that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so I want to start by saying that, and I have my notes here because it's a lot of information to cover, but I see a lot of videos about pelvic health, about different videos about pregnancy, stretches and exercises and different things that you can do. And sometimes those things can be very helpful, but other times it can kind of scare people and just like, I don't think I want to even venture into that. You see that on TikTok, you see it on Instagram, you see it on YouTube, all these types of things. And as a professional in this field, I'm still learning, I'm still growing. I see a lot of like gurus out there that have a lot of practices and things that are not necessarily backed by science, anatomy, those types of things, but also a lot of intertwining, especially with pelvic health, especially with physical therapy in general, a lot of intermingling of Hindu practices, Buddhist practices, New Age spiritualism practices, and things like that. And sometimes people see that so much that they think that that's all that pelvic health is, or that's all that it entails. And I'm not for that 100%. And I understand that, but I want to let you know with this video and with just the things I'm going to share that these things with pelvic health are backed by science, they're backed by research, they're backed by, it's not just something that someone thought up, but you really do have muscles down below in that pelvic region. Like I shared in the previous video, it's like, so you think about your bladder, right? Your genitalia, basically. You have your bladder, your genitalia, and then you have your colon, your rectum. And these areas, these organs are kind of hammocked with these muscles that are your pelvic floor muscles. And they kind of sit like a bowl, kind of like a hammock from front to the back. And I work with those muscles. So ain't gonna lie, a lot of times I am encouraging people to undress from the waist down because we're trying to see what these muscles are doing, see what the dysfunctions are, and things like that. So it is imperative that we understand what these muscles are doing, because there can be a lot of dysfunction there that could be going on for years and years and years, and you have no idea that it is a problem until it's really a problem, you know? So that's what I work with. And my hope through this video as well as other videos that I've really been having a tugging in my heart from the Lord to share these things, to educate the Christian community, just regular people that come to this channel, to encourage them and educate them about what pelvic health is. If you're having any issues with these areas, then I would definitely encourage you to see someone about it, because it can be helped. So I want to share with you 7 reasons why church folk, I said church folk, but all folk need a pelvic health physical therapist. So let's get into it. Number 1 is because it can be very empowering. I know I've had patients here recently that I have worked with, we've worked well with together and discharged, and they are worlds of different from when they first came to see me. Oftentimes, especially in our communities where we're very hesitant, where it's very taboo to think about or talk about what's going on down below, it kind of prolongs things and prolongs treatment, and then people don't see me until they really have a problem, or it's been so advanced that we have to really take our time with these muscles. So it's empowering, one, because as a pelvic health physical therapist, who also works primarily only with women, it's like a sisterhood. We help each other. Even with the clinicians that I work alongside, it's like a sisterhood. We're helping each other. We're helping our patients get better. We want our patients to get better, and we want to see those improvements and those advancements. And it's different than a knee. Like, it's a very intimate area. If you have pain there, it can be a very painful area, we're working with muscles and structures that can be very sensitive to people. There are so many different disorders and conditions that can make this type of therapy very unique and very, it's not a walk in the park. So I always tell my patients that thank you for entrusting me with helping you with these things and helping you and assisting you with your body and things like that, because it's not an easy thing. I encourage my patients to ask me questions. Please ask me questions, because it's like, even if we don't get things 100% back to normal, the benefit is that I am teaching my patients what their body is supposed to do. I am teaching my patients what things to look out for to notice if there does become a problem. And I'm referring patients out if this is beyond my scope of practice. So it's like that understanding of your body, understanding how it works, understanding the anatomy. I am always pulling out my pelvic model. Probably one day here in the future, I will bring that on here so that you can see that. But the pelvic model, to help people to understand these are the muscles that we are addressing. I'm not just, doing crazy things or things that may feel uncomfortable for no reason. Like, there's a reason and there's a method to the things that we do. Also, when it comes to, like, I see patients who are pregnant and they come to me because of pelvic pain or back pain or hip pain or something like that. And I am not only helping them with those things, but I'm also preparing them for labor and delivery, especially if they're a new mom, especially if they're this is their first baby, this is their baby large and things like that. Then I'm preparing my patients for that, for the delivery and labor and delivery and things like that. And I'm sharing things that oftentimes are not shared. And so I'm working alongside my patients so that they understand and so they can ask proper questions to their doctors, to their specialists, and things like that. So that is really important to me. I am, even as a general physical therapist, I was always someone who was explaining, maybe even over explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing, so that the patient can understand why we're doing this and why they need to continue to do these things at home and why they need to do this and not that and avoid this and not that. So those types of things are really important. So another part of this is that when I think of pelvic health, I think of advocacy for moms, for babies, for people that have pain and issues with these different areas, with their bladder, with their colon, with their uterus, those types of things. I'm being an advocate. So it makes me think of Exodus chapter 1, verse 15 through 21. Remember that story where the midwives, the Hebrew midwives, were helping the Hebrew women to give birth to their babies. And when the Pharaoh was like, hey, kill all of the male children of the Hebrews that comes out, and they would not do it, but they hid them away, and they told him, hey, you know, the Hebrew women, they labored and they did it so quickly that we couldn't even get them and things like that. So it was just a way of advocating and protecting the baby, protecting the mom, advocating for the mom in that way, to where they would not do what Pharaoh said. Even though he was Pharaoh and these things, they obeyed God and they walked in that. And for me, that's how I feel about pelvic health. It's like, though I'm not delivering babies or anything like that by any means, but I am assisting women to protect themselves and protect their bodies during the labor and delivery process, giving them education and insight on some things to avoid, so that there's less injury on the back end in postpartum and things like that, and we're not trying to backtrack. And even if there are injuries or traumas that come with labor, which is possible, my prayer always for my patients is that they would come back and they would we would be able to work on those things together. So whether I see a patient while they're pregnant and I'm encouraging them to come back afterwards, or I'm giving them their education as much as I can on the front end, or if they're coming to see me long after, even a year or 3 years or 10 years after they've had a pregnancy experience or a postpartum experience or trauma during delivery, I am helping them with all of those things. So it's a super important job. And then the second reason why Christian folks need a pelvic health physical therapist is because bladder leakage is a problem. It is a normal problem. It is something that is common, but it is not normal in the sense that it should be happening. It's not. It is common. I think I said that wrong. It is common, but it's not normal. So yeah, a lot of times, especially my older patients, when I see my older ladies and they're like, yeah, I've been leaking all this time since after menopause and this and that. And they're just like, I'm just going to have to wear, Depends and different things like that, because it's just a part of life, you know. And even some specialists and doctors and things like that kind of attribute it, oh, it's just a part of life, just get your pads and things like that and you'll be fine. But it's not. It's something that we can actually help with. I have had patients where I have given them not only strategies to help them get to the bathroom, but also strategies to where they are able to hold their bladder. They're able to suppress urgency. They're able to stop leakage when they cough or sneeze or anything like that. If you're having those issues, go see someone about that, please. Because it can just be very debilitating. It can be very embarrassing and those types of things. And even if you're wearing a pad, we got to talk about how often, how long to wear that same pad. And just like with your menstruation cycle, like you have to change those things regularly or you'll get skin breakdown and different things like that. So we talk about all of those things. And again, it's a lot of education on my end, a lot of talking on my end to kind of bring to the forefront that though this is a common issue, it is not by any means normal. And we can fix those things and we can help to assist with healing and strengthening and all those things. If you're just told to do a Kegel, you need to go and see physical therapy, pelvic health physical therapy, because oftentimes, though Kegels can be very effective, oftentimes people are doing them wrong and they don't know and not aware of those muscles that are down there. And so they're just holding their breath or they're just squeezing their knees together and things like that. And that's not how you do that. Okay. So the third reason is because constipation can be stressful and loose stool is embarrassing. So whether you're having constipation, whether you're having diarrhea, whether you're having fecal incontinence, where you're not able to control your stool, that all of that is not normal. And all of that can be helped. With this in particular, we want to increase confidence in our patients. We want them to trust their bodies again. We want them to do away with bad habits when it comes to how they're pooping and how they're making those bowel movements and things like that. If they're straining, if they're holding their breath, those types of things we talk about. And we encourage patients so that they can get back to their normal life. Because imagine, bladder leakage can be embarrassing, but they are often, people do pads or it depends, and they're on their way. But with incontinence of stool, that is something that is so debilitating and so embarrassing to patients that they don't want to leave the house. And I've had patients like that who their symptoms are so severe that they don't want to leave the house. They don't want to go too far from the bathroom and these things. And so we want to give people their lives back, we want to encourage them that you can do these things. We can encourage them even through nutrition, through toileting postures, to really affect healing and help people to get back to their normal daily activities. So it's so important and it's so vital, and it's something that I have honestly seen bowel issues up until this point the least. And studies show oftentimes they don't go to see someone about this because they don't think it's going to help, or they think they're not aware that there are solutions and treatment for it, or it's just so embarrassing that they can't get past I don't even want to talk to anyone about this type of thing. So with all of these issues, it can be we have to encourage people to come, whether you know someone who has these issues or whether you're someone who has these issues as well. We want to encourage them. We don't want to minimize. We don't want to make fun or anything like that. Anything like that is just no, 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 because it's something that really impacts the life. And so it's a need for compassion, for gentleness, kindness, grace, to help people to get through these things. So yeah. And then the fourth thing is that because y'all out there, somebody out there has had a surgery, whether it's an abdominal surgery in their abdomen, or they've had surgery on their bladder. Hysterectomies is huge. You're losing so much support of your organs in there. What else? Bowel dysfunction surgeries and things like that, hernias, all of these things, ostomy, if you have colon issues where you have diverticulitis or things like that, you can get treatment. I can't heal your diverticulitis, but what I can do is help those organs along and get you back to movement, getting back to your daily activities, being able to do those things well to where you're not rushing back to the hospital, back to surgery and things like that. We teach people how to move well, how to move better. And oftentimes it comes from breathing. Breathing and how you breathe during activities plays a huge role in having more issues down the line, or really addressing those things and getting those things into practice. So it's a super huge thing, super important thing. And then number 5 is that you've had a child. If you have had a child, whether you have had a traumatic injury during childbirth, whether you've had a long labor, whether you've been cut, whether baby was stuck some type of way, whether you got a C-section or a vaginal birth, you have had a child, you have held a bowling ball in your abdomen for almost a year, you need pelvic health physical therapy. You just do. Studies have shown in places like England and different places that are not the US, that pelvic health physical therapy is a standard of care for postpartum patients. It just is. Because if we can catch those things early, issues with breathing, issues with how you're lifting, not being able to lift, but yet you have a newborn, those types of things can set in different injuries and issues. And then you're coming back to me later on for prolapse or for different incontinence issues and things like that, because you're not managing those muscles, those healing muscles well. So when you have children, it is just a basic standard of care to at least get checked out by a pelvic health physical therapist, get some pointers, get some things. I know you're busy. I know you have kids. I know you have a newborn. I know you have a lot of responsibilities, but we have to take care of ourselves, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, then how can we take care of anyone else? So that's just my soapbox. All right. And then number 6. Yes, number 6. Because we can make pelvic pain more manageable. Like I said, I have personally had pelvic health physical therapy for my endometriosis and my pelvic pain. And I found it was strange at first. I didn't know what she was doing, why she was doing it, and all that stuff. But I found so much relief, so much help when it came to how I'm moving and different things like that. Some strategies of moving my abdomen muscles around, different massages and things like that, that I could help myself and become independent and know how to manage my pain. Like my pelvic health physical therapist, love them dearly. Shout out to y'all. If you ever see this, thank you. But they didn't take away my pelvic pain. But they helped me to understand my body so that I could manage my own pain independently of them. And that is always the goal for physical therapy in general, but especially with pelvic health, because if I can't be with you all the time and whisper in your ear saying do your exercises or whatever, but what I can do is help you to understand why this is important, how to move, the different strategies on what to do when you're bending over, or what to do when you're lifting something heavy or lifting a baby. And those things help you for longevity and for those different activities that you will be doing. So though we can't always take away completely all of your symptoms or all of your pain, we can help you to manage it and know what to do to help yourself. And then the last one is that we just want to pay it forward. There is not any of my pelvic health mentors, people that have helped me along my way when it comes to this. And I'm still new at this. Like, I've only been practicing in this specialty for about 6 months. So I am constantly learning, growing, all that good stuff. But my mentors are my mentors and went into pelvic health because they had an issue. They knew someone who had an issue and they wanted to figure this thing out. And that's why I went into it, because I'm like, hey, this works. This help with this help with that, and all these things. And I wanted to pay it forward. I wanted to share, just like I'm sharing now, I wanted to share the things that I know and the things that I've learned from personal experience with my patients, with my community, with you guys. So that is so important to me, because my journey wouldn't have been so smooth and so seamless now if I hadn't have gone to pelvic health physical therapy. The symptoms that I've had before, like now I know if my muscles get a little weak and I start to, have different symptoms, then I know what to do and help with those things. And I'm still working with my prayer is that we would all just be more open, be more willing to ask questions, and be an advocate for yourself. Because if you roll up to a pelvic health physical therapist and she trying to tell you to do this weird meditations or chakras and all this type of stuff that is not what I do at all, then advocate for yourself. No, I'm sorry, I appreciate that, but I don't want to do that. Can we just stick to the anatomy? Can we just stick to what we're here for and you not try to convert me to something? You know what I mean? Like, I personally hate that, and I'm not an advocate for that, and I don't do that. But my prayer is that we would just learn about our bodies, especially as women and men too. There are pelvic health physical therapists that do men's health. I do not, and I refuse to. That is something that God has not called me to do. But there are those who have, and men have issues too. You will be surprised. Surgeries, all these things that I mentioned, except for pregnancy, men deal with. And so being an advocate for yourself to ask those questions and to get those answers is imperative. So that is all that I have. Thank you for staying on, and thank you for allowing me to share. But as always, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and worship our Father in heaven. Amen.